Ahead of his speech, we once again have live analysis from UW-Madison political science expert Howard Schweber about what you can expect to hear tonight and what that means for the election.
Professor Schweber joins us live from Fiserv Forum once again. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, my pleasure.
So the former president's speech, it's what everyone is looking toward tonight. What are you expecting him to hit on in terms of talking points and policy, and what tone do you think we'll hear from him?
Right, so yesterday, throughout the convention, starting on Sunday with Trump's statement after he was shot, of course, there's been this remarkable shift in tone away from the 2016, 2020 style, dark, angry, accusatory tone to something much more optimistic and celebratory. And with a very few slips, the message discipline, if I can put it that way, has held fast. The atmosphere is celebratory and optimistic. Trump is being portrayed not as an angry warrior by any means, but as a kind of cuddly grandfather, as well as a hero, of course. J.D. Vance, in his speech, eschewed his usual kind of pugnacious attitudes and came across as warm and humorous. The atmosphere overall has been one of, we are an inclusive party. There's been none of the kind of lock her up sort of chants, frankly, almost no media bashing, no what you might call red baiting. It's all been very, very positive, with one very notable exception, which is that illegal immigrants are sort of the repository for all of the anger and all of the dismay that people are feeling. And Biden and Harris by extension because of their presence. So I'm expecting Trump to continue that trend, to be humanizing and warm. This convention has been remarkably successful. It has run like a well-oiled machine. Three things that stand out tremendously. Trump has complete control over the messaging. The messaging discipline, as I mentioned before, among speakers and delegates is very strong and very much on point. And the new message is very different from the last two campaigns that we've seen. It's much more inclusive. It's much more about reaching out to working class voters and voters of color and gay voters, which was not something we would have expected in 2020 or 2016. And I expect Trump to continue that theme. And I have to say, if he can hold that as the theme of the campaign, I think he'll be quite difficult to beat.
And you mentioned last night we heard from Vice Presidential candidate J.D. Vance for the first time. What were your main takeaways from his speech?
So Vance has a very clear ideological standpoint, which is sympathetic with that of Trump, and not necessarily with everyone in the party. He's something of an isolationist. He's a economic protectionist. It was very interesting. He was very careful to call out both parties for their past mistakes. He talked about the Iraq invasion, about past years which the Republican Party has, in his words, been the tool of Wall Street as well as the Democratic Party. He described what's going here as a movement. So it's very much an idea of this is the new Democratic Party. And he was one of the speakers who was most effective at saying, we welcome workers, in his words, union and non-union, which is not something I think you would have heard in 2016. And to make this about the Republican Party becoming what the Democratic Party used to claim to be. That's been one of the constant themes. And several of the speakers have been people who would say things like, I used to be a Democrat, but I have now seen the light or undergone a conversion, so to speak. A lot of the selling point is, yes, there was once a great Democratic Party, but it's all gone wrong. But now we, the Republican Party, are going to take over that mantle, and you all out there should join us. It's an attempt to peel away in the way that Reagan did, traditional Democratic voters, and polling data suggests it has a pretty considerable possibility of success.
All right, Professor Schweber, we have appreciated your insights all week. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll look forward to see what you have to say about the final night of the RNC.
Thank you very much.